The man, the myth, the legend, Tony Stark.
Oh, not Ron Burgundy.
No, we already talked about Ron.
Oh, yeah, we did. I love Ron Burgundy. Stay classy. Oh, Iron Man. Yes.
Iron Man. The kickoff
to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So it's interesting because there's a lot of Marvel type film or Marvel comic book characters in films, like the Flash way back in the day.
Yeah.
And there was also a Captain America in, was it the 80s, early 80s?
Probably.
Dude, you're this MCU freak.
No, I like DC. And Flash is DC, so I was just confused when you said Flash to begin with.
Yeah. Flash Gordon, I think I meant.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
Sorry. But there was this, this is a resurgence of that kind of thing, and they made this into a universe.
Yeah, they did.
They freaking knocked it out of the park.
Which is crazy how well they did it. And they pinned a lot on Robert Downey Jr., who is fantastic now, but when he was being picked to be Iron Man, definitely had some personal issues.
He's fresh out of jail.
Yeah. Had drinking issues.
Yeah.
So
they had to take out this big insurance policy on him.
Yeah.
Everybody was on edge and worried about the whole thing.
Right.
And, they're spending all this money, and somebody saw that, hey, somebody saw $585 million worth in this whole deal.
Yeah.
That's what the box office did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's only ballooned since,
Yeah. All the after.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. That's just this film.
Yeah.
The Jericho missiles was a cool thing in this thing. I mean, there's a lot. It wasn't just the origin story of Iron Man that was cool in this, but.
And, Iron Man is a superhero, but kind of like Batman, it's not like he has superpowers besides his intelligence.
Right.
Which, to me, when I'm looking at what I enjoy about superheroes, or the things I'm more drawn to, are those superheroes that are more human than super.
Yeah.
And so, always hated Superman. Not a huge fan of Captain America because he just got drugs.
Yeah.
And became a superhuman.
I mean, it's interesting how that story goes.
It is.
But yes, I agree.
But Iron Man, you see his pain. You see his struggles. And, he's still, at the end of the movie, an arrogant man.
Yeah.
It's not like he's really, they had the whole conversation with S.H.I.E.L.D. that we're still not really thinking that you're set for Avengers because you have some personal things you need to figure out.
Yeah.
So.
And that he plays that up and leans into that very well.
He does.
As an actor.
Right.
And so I wonder how much
probably drama.
art imitates life here.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I do think that, Robert Downey Jr. is clearly a very talented actor.
Yeah.
I do think he's also a fairly intelligent person.
No, I agree.
And so I don't know that for sure, but it seems like in his interviews and some of those things that he's very well spoken. He understands a lot of different weird concepts that most people, probably don't, and things like that.
Well, and to be as prolific as an actor as he was during his time within the MCU, he has to understand how everything connects together.
He's coming back.
I sure hope not.
Oh, he time travel, multiverse.
I will be incredibly disappointed. Not that I've been really not disappointed by the recent Marvel films, but
yeah, they'll screw it up. They'll bring it back.
I don't think so.
I hope he says no.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think unless he gets really desperate, I would be surprised if he comes back. I want another Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Let him do that, and maybe do another one, and then maybe he can come back to the Marvel Universe. But let's get those Sherlock Holmes movies out.
Right. Anything in here that really was like, when you first saw this, yes.
I just really liked the story.
Yeah.
I really liked how they did, even when he was testing out the suits. I thought it was a very fun way of how they showed that in the film of
Yeah.
doing the recordings and then kind of doing close-ups as he was getting stuff figured out. I don't know if I really had a yeah moment because there's not a ton of them. Like, it's not like there's a huge pinnacle point of like, this is great. I mean, the end scene was really cool with the plasma arc reactor coming up and destroying Obadiah. But.
Yeah, and how did that actually? That was a question that I had. How did that happen? And it killed Obadiah, but not
Science.
Yeah, how?
Science.
Okay, what's the science?
Electricity.
Okay, how come
gravity,
Tony Stark was there?
Equals MC squared.
MCU squared.
MCU squared. There we go. We have figured out the formula.
You know, and so there's that whole thing, like, and I'm not trying to put holes in it, but it is interesting that Tony Stark doesn't die.
Yep.
Obadiah does.
Yep.
Is it because of what the suit's made out of, where, you know, Tony Stark went flipping and flying out of there,
right?
Where he was electrocuted, you know, that was one thing that I didn't care much for.
Yeah.
I was like, he's in the blast.
I wanted to see a plasma beam to the face.
Right, like, can you get named here?
Just coming out.
Yeah, like
that would have been cool.
Two-Face.
Yeah. Except he wouldn't live.
Right.
I don't know. There's stuff like that in any,
you know, it's interesting
superhero film of like.
But yeah.
It doesn't really make sense, but it's entertaining at least.
Totally. My understanding of it, I'm not a comic book person, but my understanding of it is Iron Maiden. And that's not but Obadiah, that's Iron what? You remember?
Obadiah?
Obadiah's, that suit it's Iron Mega.
Oh, I can't remember what it was called.
What? Yeah. Anyway, I had it. And,
Obadiah #1.
But I don't know where I put it. Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things that people say, well, it's not in order. It's not the correct timeline. And things like that. So it's, yeah.
I don't know. I always think it's kind of silly, too, because obviously Tony Stark has this incredible intelligence where he was able to make the suit. He obviously spent a lot of time designing the suit. And the timeline in this whole film of, like, when certain things are happening doesn't always seem super concrete to me. Of, like, when Tony got out, how long did it take from him to get back home and actually make the suit? Was it a few weeks? Was it a few months?
Yes.
And then also when Obadiah was doing his stuff, how much time did he have to develop his suit? Because he's clearly not as intelligent. I mean, his suit has some glitches with it.
Well, and they did kind of make reference to that. Like, you know, some of that whole science team was, we're not Tony Stark, you know. And so that was kind of cool. So they did make reference to it.
They did. But in the end, the suit still matched up with Tony's.
Yeah.
Granted, he was on a weaker power core, which kind of tied it together.
Yeah, that did.
I also really enjoy how this movie still, like, future films still tie to this movie, like the 10 Rings, like that was Shang-Chi.
Yeah, exactly. Did you catch that in here?
Yeah. Well, when I first watched it, obviously Shang-Chi was around.
Yeah.
I've watched this movie after Shang-Chi, but I heard about it. And then when I watched the film again, I noticed it.
Yeah. So that was the terrorists.
Yeah, right. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, future planning.
Right.
And maybe it wasn't even future planning, but for them to have an understanding of the universe, of being able to, like, we're going to put this out here. We may not use it, but it could come if we ever do these other films that we're looking into.
Right. Well, I think that is part of what made this so successful.
Yeah.
Was they had this, universe
yeah.
that they were figuring out.
Yep.
And that's Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he came in and was able to tie all these things together and the whole vision.
And have the idea.
Yeah. So I think that's super important with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But
this was still Fox when it came out, though, wasn't it? Because I don't think Disney owned Iron Man.
Disney did not. So that's another thing, too, that's been frustrating to me because one of the things which the smoking, the cigar,
right?
Disney won't put that in.
No.
And, it's like, okay.
And that's why I think Iron Man, like out of the trilogy, Iron Man 1 is the best.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really have to censor crap. And then 2 and 3 2 was okay. 3 was terrible. But that's probably because of the censorship. And like part of Iron Man's backstory is the struggles that he has with alcohol, with depression and stuff like that. And they can't dive into that because they want to make sure it's kid friendly. And that's not.
Right.
Which is too bad. You know who wouldn't be afraid of going to that? DC.
And they have.
Yeah. I love DC.
Yeah, I know you do.
Much better than MCU.
No. MCU has like
I like the
other than
films.
other than since like Disney kind of really got their claws into it, I'm not happy with. But
I like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I like Aquaman. I like the first. I like individual films. And
but they
nice
can't tie. They
can't.
can't.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah.
They haven't been able to do that yet.
No.
So yeah.
Sorry, I'll take the U out of it. I prefer DC over Marvel. And you can take out the whole universe. I rather watch DC films.
If you, as I say, compartmentalize.
Waffle brain.
I agree.
Yeah.
But you put this all together.
It's impressive.
It's super
It's
impressive.
hard to deny.
Yeah.
It is cool. But I guess that's all I really have to say about. I mean, we got really side tangents of the whole Iron Man side of things.
Yeah. But that's fun.
It is. I love it.
So I'm going to tell you the scene that I was like, yes, this
I forgot to ask you. I'm a terrible partner.
I know, it's okay.
So Matt, tell me this. What was the one scene that was like mind-blowing to you?
Where he blew up that tank.
Oh, yeah.
The big freaking tank is and he's just like, ping.
Yeah.
Walks away.
Yeah, that's another iconic scene.
Yeah, that's great. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the big fancy weapon. You just need the smart weapon.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was fun.
I just love his suit design, too, because he looks menacing.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the future films, like, they do a lot of stuff with the suit that looks cool, but I don't think he ever looks as menacing as he does in this first suit.
Sure. Yeah. That's it. That's all I got.
You wanna go grab an American cheeseburger?
Yes, American cheeseburger.
Right.
Let's do
I
that.
don't want to deal with any other type of cheeseburger.
Thanks for joining us.
If you have any slide remarks, send us an email at legitq@maddysmoviemix.com.
Woo!
Nailed it.